My name is Lono. I'm a Kahuna priest. Now, I'm not a Republican, and I don't have anything against Republicans as people. I'm not a Democrat, and I don't have any issue with Democrats, individual Democrats as people. And I'm not a person who has anything against people who won't identify either way. I'm not a Christian, but I don't have anything against Christians. What I do have a problem with is people who become ideological within any of those groups. Ideology is what happens when people are so wrapped up in their worldview that if somebody else doesn't agree with it, they've got to make them wrong and bad. And that's the most dangerous thing to ever exist in this world. It's responsible for virtually all government tyranny, wars, unnecessary death and destruction, family breakups and breakdowns, fraud, crime, and even most illness and death caused by chronic debilitating disease. Sound outrageous? It's not. The most dangerous thing to ever exist in our world is dogma. And in one form or another, it's the most dangerous thing to ever confront humanity. And in this series of presentations, I'm going to show you why that statement is absolutely true. Now, this begs the question, do you know what dogma really is? Do you know where it comes from? Do you know how it turns into an ideology? Do you understand the difference between dogma and reality? And by the way, this is not just an ungrounded philosophical discussion. Understanding the difference is going to be the key to how you, your family, and your community will either enjoy freedom in the future or be subjected to tyranny. And my name is Lono. As I said, I'm a Kahuna priest from the Eagle's Nest family, and I teach a system of high order awareness that can defeat ideology and dogma. And that's why our byline for the Eagle's Nest family is that this is the place where dogma comes to die in the light of reality. Now, my goals here are threefold. First, as I look around what I see to be a lot of people who are confused and afraid, you probably see that too. Interestingly enough, if you go on to the legacy media wants to keep you confused, and they've lost their grip on most of the people in this country. Many, many people now are turning to YouTube and social media sites for their news. And that's a good thing. But all these people out there, most of them are telling you what's wrong and what's going bad and warning and all that sort of thing. We need more information about what to do about it. How can we solve this problem? And it begins with understanding how dogma begins and how people sell dogma and how these ideologies get started and how you've got to deal with ideology. Now, confused and fearful people are easily manipulated, and they give their power away far too easily. And that works for the elite billionaires who own or otherwise control our governments, our medical systems, our educational institutions, our legacy media, our justice system, our monetary system, and more. It's all owned by the same people. And these people intend to shape your world into their image. And that won't work for the common citizen. And I want you to know right now, there's an ancient saying that's absolutely true. When you speak truth to power, power doesn't like it. And they're going to do what they can to bite you back. Now, I want to do what I can to stop that from happening. And I'm in a unique difference because I teach this system of high order awareness called Huna Wisdom. And that way of looking at the world is like a powerful flashlight. It has the ability to penetrate the fog created by these elite. It can lift the common person who hasn't been exposed to this way of thinking out of the fog and into the light where truth becomes self-evident. The confusion goes away. Now, no belief is required for this process, only courage. For people who value freedom, there's nothing surprising about the need for courage if you're going to defend your freedom. Now, there are a lot of courageous people out there, and they're doing a great job of exposing the incredible levels of fraud and corruption that are taking place in this country daily. And I honor each of them. However, their work would be a lot more powerful if the communities that they're speaking to were not so fractured. And keeping our communities fractured is an essential part of the elite's plan to create a one-world, top-down system of government where the people at the top, the elite, have all the power and all the rights, and the people at the bottom, us, have only the freedoms they want us to have. By stoking divisions based on race, gender, religion, sexual preference, politics, and any other difference that can be exploited, these elite are engineering huge social changes to make sure that happens. If we want to preserve our freedoms, we must reject these attempts to divide us, or we're not going to be successful in our efforts to remain free as a people. Now, what can unify these communities is the same thing that creates a marriage. It works when all parties involved are committed to sharing a common set of basic values. And those values have to be based on a mutual respect for each other's sacred space. If you're not Christian, you need to be able to feel respected by Christians. If you're not a Christian, you need to respect Christians. If you're a Democrat, the values don't mean that you have to do something evil to a Republican. You don't have to lie about them. You don't have to be ornery about it. You got to respect the fact that they have another way of looking at life than you do. And if you're a Republican, you need to be able to respect Democrats for where they're coming from. Everybody has something to offer one another. And that's exactly how America was founded, and why it became the greatest force for the preservation of individual rights and freedoms that has ever existed in this world. Personal freedom and the respect for individual rights is the foundation of the American dream. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat or Christian or non-Christian. And that's why America has historically created more peace and prosperity for the common person than any other system of government that's ever existed. It's also why America is under attack by these same billionaire elite and their tit-sucking minions. Traditional American values held by the common citizen stand squarely in their way. Because I want to do what I can to help our communities unify, I've created the Eagle's Nest family. It's a family of people dedicated to supporting those who are attempting to wake up not only America, but also the world's population, with the only message that's big enough to do it. We need to work together to reach out to the entire world, because the goal of these elite is to control our entire world. And to defeat these billionaires, we have a common language capable of carrying a unifying vision. When every person in our world can speak that language, we can heal the division these elite are trying to create. If we organize into a family that support one another to master and give our unique gifts back to the circle of life of which we're all a part, we can succeed. In fact, it'll be impossible for us to fail. But if Christians are going to argue and make non-Christians wrong, and non-Christians are needing to make Christians wrong, and people who continually want to buy into this idea of black versus white and liberals versus conservatives, we don't have a chance. The tools that these elite are using so successfully have always been used to control and manipulate groups of people. The tool is dogma, composed of lies posing as reality that get built up into an ideology. And then people get really wrapped up in that ideology and become idiots. And that's why I call people who are college professors who are teaching this kind of woke ideology idiots. Because they are. They're so trapped by their way of looking at the world, they can't put their head up and see what's really going on. So they become functional idiots. So in this brief message, I want to more clearly explain the difference between dogma and reality, because most people behave as if they think the two are equivalent. And the result is a lot of unnecessary pain. So please like, subscribe, get notified, and make comments, because I'm just getting started on this platform, and I'd really appreciate it if you could help me. It doesn't cost you anything to like and subscribe to this video. And if you can help me help you and the many others out there who want to hear a message like this, and if we can make it spread, we're doing something that's very important to our future. So if you're one of those special people who can see the value in what we're doing, please hit that like button. Tell others that we're here, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell icon so you can get notified as we post new presentations. Now I want to keep these presentations as short as possible, yet charged with a lot of insight. So you're going to look forward to each one without having to think that you're going to have to spend an hour of your day listening to it. My goal is to keep them to 10 or 15 minutes apiece when I can. And so please know that it's important for me. Why I'm doing this is I want to gain your trust so that you'll want to join our family. And that's why I'll always welcome your suggestions and respectful comments. On the other hand, if you're one of those woke crowd and you feel so challenged by my perspectives that you can't resist the need to personally belittle me, that's okay too. Just know you're going to be wasting your time. Because as I counsel everyone in my family and everyone who listens to me, when people feel the need to personally attack those with whom they disagree, rather than engage in respectful dialogue, they reveal the places that they're unconscious and most need some growth and awareness. At some point, our hope for such people is that they're going to relate their considerable distress about what they see going on in our world to their own attitudes, and hopefully remember what we are trying to help them understand, so that they can grow in awareness. But returning insults with insults of our own is counterproductive to that process. And so is giving attention to such people. Don't give them attention. That just feeds their nasty attitudes, and that doesn't work for anybody. Now, the best way to handle such people is to completely ignore them and their attacks as irrelevant, because that's exactly what's real. That kind of stuff is completely irrelevant. And always remember that to the extent we can help such people to wake up, we all win. But that doesn't happen by arguing with them. Now, beliefs about reality are not the same thing as reality. That's the point of this particular presentation. At best, they're only poor substitutes for reality. Beliefs or opinions about reality become dogma when some group of people with some kind of authority proclaim that their worldview must be accepted as real, even though it isn't. Now, such people justify punishing people who won't comply. That's when it turns into an ideology. Most commonly, such punishment can involve public disapproval, censorship, personality attacks, loss of a job, social status, attacks on a person's reputation, and unfortunately, even imprisonment or death. Now, to illustrate, I recently posted a video that exposes the dogma inherent in our medical system. And in that video, I clearly show how the majority of chronic debilitating illness is the result of medical disinformation, and how educating the public to proper diet would be a simple and effective way to heal these diseases. The elite who control our food supplies along with Big Pharma won't let that happen, because it would seriously undermine their profitability. So they lobby our government with billions of dollars to keep the fraud going. And the tragic result is that millions of people suffer needlessly from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, as well as dozens of other diseases that all have the exact same cause. And that's a cause that's easily and inexpensively fixed. I do it all the time with my patients. And by removing that cause, all these diseases are cured, even in advanced stages, despite what people have been told, that they're incurable. We can manage it with this pharmaceutical. Baloney. You can cure it. Just come back to the way you were designed, and you'll be surprised the power your body has to heal things. Now, I've done that with many of my patients for many years. Now, medical dogma is no accident. Like most dogma, it's pure evil based on greed and a quest for power. It has nothing to do with real medicine, which is supposed to keep people healthy, vibrant, and strong. I'll leave a link to that video in the comments below for those who are interested. And I'm surprised it hasn't been censored yet. But that's probably because I'm too small a fish right now for the elite to care much about what I have to say. So that may be an advantage. Now, dogma is composed of personal opinions about reality designed to give one group of people power over another. And that's how dogma inevitably creates societal struggles, whether the area is medicine, environmental issues like climate change, the economy, relationships, and especially politics and religion. And none of those things help people benefit when they promulgate dogma disguised as reality. They need to be right and they need to make you wrong. All they do is create division. That's not helpful. And by the way, it's important that people realize that I'm not denigrating religion here when I say this. Religions that support people to recognize that there's a spiritual presence that's behind the organization and operation of this world are extremely important, and they're a valuable part of this tapestry that is our society. But most religions differ only in the words that they use to understand this spiritual presence that they call God. The problems begin when a religion becomes so proprietary that it needs to make people who aren't a part of that religion bad and wrong, to the point that they can justify hurting them. And that's happened to me many times now. And that's when a religion turns into a sociopathic ideology that's a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. Now, I don't blame people who are idiots or ideologically compromised by their religion for their need to hurt me. I understand that they're simply unconscious, but that doesn't solve the hurt. I was jailed by a born-again Christian district attorney who thought I was an agent of Satan because people left her congregation to come study this high-order thinking with me. And on the other hand, I've had great relationships with many other Christians who are beautiful people. So it's not about religion, it's about people who are ideologically compromised and trapped by the ideology that is their religion. Now, regardless of religion or lack thereof, reality is what it is. It doesn't change. That kind of universal reality I like to call reality with the big R, as opposed to our personal realities that we designate with a little r. This big R includes the principles upon which this world is built. Science teaches us that these principles are universal, eternal, and they live in complete harmony with one another. The more we learn about them, the more we realize how true that is. Now, I'm going to use several words to describe God. God, universe, nature, reality, nature's God, all that is. They're all words that can be used to identify the creator or cause of all of these eternal principles. And the fact is that we're just not as smart as that God, universe, nature's God, reality, or the all that is. We're just not that smart, although some of us have come to believe that they are. And there's where the problem starts. Such people deny the existence of such a God. And they prefer to believe in the dogma that the universal principles that reveal the nature of this big R are some kind of grand chaotic accident. That dogma stands in denial that our world has either any purpose or meaning for its existence. And without the ability to see the meaning in our lives, that's one reason that the difference between our little r's and that big R is called pain. The universal reality doesn't care what we think of it or what we think it should be. It just doesn't care. It doesn't care what we want it to be, no matter how badly we want it to align with our worldviews. When it comes to reality, we have only two choices. We can either live in harmony with it as it is, or we can choose not to and get the pain. That choice is ours, always ours. Now, in future episodes of these we call Pearls of Wisdom, we'll come to understand why the universe is designed this way, and why pain is actually a medicine provided by a very loving God, universe, nature, nature's God, reality, all that is, whatever term you want to use. But it's an absolute loving medicine that helps unconscious beings wake up. The ancient system of Huna Wisdom puts it this way: life energy flows where reality is. Think about that. Life energy flows where reality is. Can you recognize the importance of that perspective? When our choices reflect reality, we enjoy a flow of life energy. And the closer we live in harmony with reality, the more energy, life energy, joy, and peace we all enjoy. When our choices are based on beliefs or dogmas or ideology, which is the worst, they're inaccurate representations of reality, and we get pain. And like it or not, that's how our world is built. Now, I said I'm a Kahuna. If you don't know what that means, let me help you. Huna is a Hawaiian word that at the surface means something that's a secret. At a deeper level, it means the isness of things, which remains a secret to those who are caught up in that web of dogma and ideology. Ka is a word that means a keeper of something. Therefore, Kahuna is a keeper of that knowledge. In a very real way, Kahuna are the ultimate scientists. Now, as a Kahuna, I'm not interested in debating opinions about what's real and what's not real. That's a lose-lose game. Not only that, but it's completely unnecessary and counterproductive. Why? When you can see reality, think about this. When you can actually see reality, there's no need for beliefs. In the light of reality, beliefs dissipate like the morning mist in the sunshine. The key to healing dogma is perspective. People can't see choices that work when they're looking at the world from a dogmatic perspective that hides real choices. That's why ideologies create idiots. They can't see other choices, or they won't give them any value. And that means my job is not to promulgate yet another form of dogma. Huna Wisdom is not just another form of dogma. It's not. It's an actual science. And I see my job as helping people look at our world from ever higher perspectives, from which they can see the reality of our world more clearly for themselves. Because I'm not advocating for some new form of dogma, this work isn't about believing me. What I don't do is ask for belief. I don't require belief. I don't even want it. The only thing that you require if you want to wake up is called humility, which is properly defined as the willingness to transcend perspective, to look at things from other perspectives. To transcend perspective requires us to sacrifice our sacred cows on the altar of reality. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to wake up. And that's not easy to do when you need to be right about your current worldview. And to get over that trap can involve a lot of pain. So only when you've had enough pain will you be willing to give up your need to be right. and look at life from other perspectives. And that's the role of pain. The universe is capable of dishing out far more pain than any of us can tolerate. And the whole goal is to wake you up, to see if you'll be willing to look at life from a higher perspective. And when that happens, you're going to discover a very marvelous capacity that's built into you. And that's the ability to recognize when one perspective is higher than another. You can recognize that. And that's why I don't ask for belief. If you need to believe me, you're on the wrong track. My work is more like this. It's, come on up here. Come up here. Look at the world from here. What do you see from here? Hawaiians call that kind of thing ike papalua, the high sight that bring power. The same thing is what many Native Americans refer to as eagle medicine. It's about having a high enough perspective that you can see choices that would work because they're in harmony with reality, while discovering and honoring that place inside of each of us that can recognize reality when we open our minds. That ability to recognize reality is called common sense. So, dogma is based on opinions and beliefs. Reality is not interested in your opinions or beliefs because reality can be recognized. It's an intuitive experience. It's why the founders of America began the Declaration of Independence with the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. These few words capture the idea as well as it can be stated. Truth or reality is always self-evident. You don't have to believe it. Huna Wisdom, which is thousands of years old, puts it this way. Belief is necessary only for that which is not real. Once discovered, that which is real can be recognized, and when honored, it works reliably and flawlessly. So, there's a lot to think about here, and in the next message we're going to explore more about dogma and ideology, where it comes from, and why it's so dangerous, and whether the venue is political or religious, an attempt to deprive us of our sacred space, some branch of something posing as science like the medical dogma I described above, or anything else that is designed to disempower us. That's the purpose of dogma. It's designed to disempower you, to get you to believe the way a group of people want you to believe because they profit by it. So in doing so, we're going to examine perspectives from which that light of reality can be seen by anybody who's willing to go there. So we'll be doing some stuff on medicine, we'll be doing stuff on relationship, we'll do stuff on current affairs. But besides just talking about the problem, we're going to talk about the dogma that underlies it, why it's dogma, and what's real. Now that's the only medicine that can heal a world in pain. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you understand more about the nature of dogma. Do you feel that understanding the difference between dogma and reality is important? Let me know down in the comments. Talk to me about that. Do you see the importance of being a part of a family that teaches its members to honor reality over dogma, that teaches a system of high order awareness that allows each member and their families and their children to see the world from ever higher perspectives, and does all of this while providing a place for its members to have the support they need to master their unique gifts and skills and return those gifts to the circle of life in a spirit of loving service and mutual respect for everybody else. That's what our Eagle's Nest family does. Now, if you agree this is valuable, you can help me and our family spread the word by hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing, hit that notification bell, because these short presentations build on one another. You're not going to want to miss one. And also, know that I really will appreciate it if you'll comment on what you think of today's presentation and let me know how you think I can do a better job? What can I do to improve? As I said, my goal with these presentations is to earn your trust so that you're going to consider joining our Eagle's Nest family. It's the only place where you can learn all these principles of high order awareness and share values with others who look at the world in the same way. Now, to learn more about how our Eagle's Nest family does this and provides for the health, education, and welfare of our members, I'll put a link in the description below. Aloha.
Mm-hmm.